It didn't happen with shouting. It didn't happen with rage. It happened in silence. One morning, he just stopped caring about being nice. He woke up, looked in the mirror, and saw someone tired of pretending. Tired of biting his tongue to keep the peace. Tired of being polite to people who disrespected him. Tired of being the emotional punching bag for people who called him too good to lose. That was the day he realized niceness had become his prison. Because when a man spends his life trying not to be the villain in someone else's story, he ends up disappearing from his own.
You know that type, the man who gives, listens, and over-explains. The one who always says it's fine, even when it's not. The one who keeps forgiving because he thinks empathy means endurance. He thought that if he stayed patient long enough, if he kept proving he was different, people would finally treat him the way he treated them. But life doesn't work like that. Here's the truth. The world doesn't reward men for being nice. It rewards men for being authentic. And authenticity requires backbone. Because nice men aren't respected. They're tolerated until they're no longer useful.
Let me explain why this happens. In psychology, we call it fawning, a trauma response where someone people-pleases to avoid rejection or conflict. It's the habit of trading self-respect for acceptance, and it starts early. You're told to be the bigger person, never make her upset, keep everyone happy. But here's the problem. When you make everyone else comfortable, you slowly become a stranger in your own life. You start measuring your worth by how little space you take up. You start confusing tolerance for love, and you start mistaking being agreeable for being good. That's not kindness, that's self-erasure.
Every man who's done playing nice has the same story. He gave and gave until there was nothing left. He stayed calm while being disrespected. He held conversations that drained his soul. He forgave betrayals that broke him. And one day, something inside him finally said, enough. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, peaceful, final. That's the moment he learned the difference between being kind and being compliant. Kindness comes from strength. Compliance comes from fear. And fear is what kept him small. Fear of being alone. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being called cold, distant, or changed. But when he finally faced that fear, he realized the truth. The people who only loved him when he was silent never loved him at all.
When men stop playing nice, they don't turn cruel. They turn clear. They stop explaining their boundaries. They stop apologizing for their standards. They stop offering loyalty to people who confuse access with entitlement. They start to say no and mean it. They start walking away from disrespect without guilt. They start realizing that being calm doesn't mean being passive. That's when something powerful happens. People who used to manipulate him lose control. People who used to guilt trip him start feeling exposed because his silence now speaks louder than all his old apologies combined. That's the energy of a man who knows his value. Not loud, not reactive, just solid.
When a man stops playing nice, he stops chasing approval. He starts chasing purpose. He builds, he trains, he focuses. He channels every ounce of pain into becoming a man of presence. That's the rebirth of masculine energy. He's not trying to be the perfect man anymore. He's trying to be a real one. And a real man doesn't need to prove he's good. His discipline speaks for him. His peace speaks for him. His silence speaks for him. Because the strongest men aren't the ones who talk about their worth. They're the ones who walk like they've already found it.
But here's the irony. The moment a man stops playing nice, the world starts calling him changed. People will say he's cold. She'll say he's not the same anymore. Friends will whisper that he's lost empathy. But what he's really lost is the willingness to be used. He's not colder. He's just clearer.
He's not distant, he's focused. He's not angry, he's awake. Because the truth is, the world benefits from men who stay quiet, guilty, and easy to manipulate. So when a man starts moving differently, everyone who fed off his niceness feels the loss.
Masculinity isn't about dominance, it's about direction. When a man controls his energy, his words, his emotions, his reactions, he becomes dangerous in the best way possible. Not because he's violent, but because he's untouchable. You can't guilt him, you can't shame him, you can't play on his emotions, because his peace is no longer for sale. He's not trying to win arguments anymore. He's building empires in silence. He's leading himself before trying to lead anyone else. That's the quiet confidence that modern men are rediscovering. The power of restraint, purpose, and presence.
This isn't about hating anyone. It's about balance. For too long, men were told that masculinity equals aggression. So they overcorrected into softness. They became too agreeable, too apologetic, too afraid of being misunderstood. Now, the pendulum is swinging back, not toward cruelty, but toward clarity. He doesn't need validation to know his worth. He doesn't need chaos to feel alive. He doesn't need to prove he's kind by sacrificing his peace. He's learned that being good doesn't mean being weak, and being silent doesn't mean being small. That's the evolution.
So when they say, he used to be so nice, you can smile, because they're right. He used to explain himself. He used to say sorry when he wasn't wrong. He used to confuse love with tolerance, but not anymore.
Now he's calm, he's grounded, he's focused. He's not playing nice, he's playing real. And that's what scares people the most. Because a man who stops playing nice is a man who finally remembers who he is.
If this truth reached you, if these ideas stirred something deep inside you, know this: you are not alone in this shift. An awakened generation of men is rising, discovering who they really are. If you're ready to join this movement, hit like, subscribe, and walk with us through the depths of the mind.